Hi, it's Martin and welcome to another video on my Knit365 YouTube channel. Today's video is Vlogmas something 9 maybe, but it's the final one. So we'll call it the final one of Vlogmas. Welcome. Hi, I am Martin. I live in Cardiff. If you have just discovered me, welcome to the end of Vlogmas. It is currently New Year's Eve. It is the 31st of December as I film this video. If you are new here, you are very welcome, but you may want to hop back to the beginning of December at least and watch the rest of the Vlogmas mini-series. If you are a returning viewer though, of course, welcome, hi, it's lovely to have you here. As we kind of wrap up the year, really. I was umming and ahhing as to whether to record. I did say in the last one on Christmas Eve, I think, that I was going to do I'll keep Vlogmas going. And to be honest... Christmas has been a lot. It's been so much fun. It was loud. We had some really, really fun family-filled days. Not a lot of social media, no real filming. Over Christmas Day and Boxing Day, with all the family here, I took 3 photographs. Like everyone went Christmas night and Mark said, "Oh, did you take any pictures of the table?" I was like, no. Which shows that we were really in the moment, which was great. But we had a really lovely Christmas table. Oh, spoiler box. But like it was all laid out because we had 11 adults for dinner. So the table was laid for 12 because our niece 2 sat at the table with us. Nephew 1 was doing his own thing. So yeah, it was really nice. But it kind of, that's just the perfect summary, I guess, of the last week. It's just been so full on. Yesterday was the first day. So yesterday was Sunday. So yeah, in like a week since we came back from having our little weekend away in the Cotswolds, it was almost a week before it was just the 2 of us. And we weren't seeing anyone, we weren't doing anything. Like other people, like my parents hosted something on Sunday, yesterday. Mark's mum was here for most of the week. She went home Saturday. It's been so lovely. It's been a big fun-filled family spectacular. But I've actually got quite a lot of knitting done. So those of you that follow me on Instagram, some of this won't be a spoiler because you've already seen it. Some of it will be a spoiler, some of it won't be a spoiler. I've also had a gift from Santa. I have talked about this, I think, but I'll show off my Santa gift. I haven't used it yet. That's this weekend's task. So, hi, this was a very long-winded introduction. It's basically New Year's Eve. It is currently 12:30. So I thought I would pop on, do a quick end-of-year summary. I've got 2 final Christmas cast-ons that I've been doing. I got some little Christmas gifts that were very, very kindly sent to us. And then my big Christmas gift. So I don't think it's going to be a very long video. It's really just a bit of a final wrap up. And to say Happy New Year to you all, really. So let's do Christmas gifts first. So Melissa and Barbara are folks in our community who live in Australia. I was really fortunate last year to meet up with Melissa and her husband when they were over here in the UK visiting family. And I think I showed it at the time. They bought some lovely gifts with them, including some like Australian themed Christmas gifts that are now on the tree. We had a knock on the door in December and Melissa and Barbara had very kindly put a package together and sent us some Christmas gifts, which was really lovely. So I've opened them yesterday. We opened them. It was the first time I said that we didn't have all the craziness. And Mark and I said, oh, we'll leave them until it's like when it's quieter. So we've just opened them. So Mark had some really lovely baking gifts. He's got some Australian themed cutters and we had some chocolate. I had some woolly related things, as you would expect. So I've got a lovely little project bag from the Gamer Widows. And this is this gorgeous little pyramid bag. And inside, they weren't inside, but I'm going to keep them inside. These really cute little stitch stoppers. So we've got some koalas and we've got some sweaters. State of my nail. Oh, potentially didn't see those. I've been out to the garage today. The car needed servicing, and I had to fix a tyre. I didn't. I helped a man fix a tyre. Oh, sorry. So, some really cute little stitch marker, needle stoppers. Then I've got this really, really cute, skein of yellow. This is by Daisy Duke. This is Merino Super Soft, and it is super, super soft. It is a sock yarn 4-ply, 75 merino, 25% nylon, and it's by Chardy Glen Designs. So I think Daisy Duke is the colourway name. Look at that. Lovely. And Melissa does know what I'm having from Santa, which I'll show you in a moment. So I think that's where these come from. But we've also got ASMR. Rustle, rustle. We've also then got some really cool coloured fibre. So these are by Colour Streams, and this is hand-dyed merino wool top, and they're both in the purple genie colourway. 50 grams. So I'm looking forward to having a go at spinning those. So thank you to Melissa and Barbara for the really lovely gifts. Not expected, but very much appreciated. So thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. On to my last two castons of the year then. Excuse me, quick drink. So my last two castons, I'm now obsessing over my nails. My last two castons of the year. So in the last video, we showed off the completed yarn by Gemma of the Little Grey Girl in her weekly advent. So I've got 3 of the colours here, and they are just gorgeous. Gorgeous, I tell you. The other 2 colours are away in the box because I haven't yet wound them. But this was going to be my Christmas Eve cast on, and I did say I was going to cast on Christmas Eve. It didn't happen. Christmas Eve was a little bit crazy and a little bit chaotic, but it was fine. I actually cast on Christmas morning. We had plenty of time before all the rabble arrived, so they didn't start arriving until 11:45, 12 o'clock. We ate slightly later on Christmas Day. So I actually started Christmas Day, and I cast on the Hyber Knit Along project by Stephen West, and I cast on, it's a tabular cast on, or a tab cast on, where you just start with 3 stitches and then it kind of grows out. And I've become obsessed by this project. This is a shawl that grows out from the centre, and if you've been here for a while and you've watched the Mystery Knit Along videos, I've talked before about I'm not a huge fan of shawls that work in sections and then pick up stitches and we change directions. I find that quite fiddly. I just don't like it. I really love a shawl that grows, and I love an 800 stitch bind off. Absolutely, bring it. And I figured, after I was like, why am I so obsessed with this shawl? I think it's because it's my perfect shape. But this was less than a week's worth of knitting. So we added colour 1. And then we added colour 2. And I've now added colour 3. So, yeah, I'm on section, I've just finished section 6. I think there are 12 sections. I've still got a long way to go. And the next section has got cables in it, so it's not going to be as quick. But let me just show you the sections then. So this was the start. And then we went into this gorgeous rib stitch. I think it's called the fur rib, which I'd never done before. So we did that. Then we had a reverse stockinette section, and this is where I then started to fade the colours. So I did 2 rows in the pink, 2 rows in the orange, and repeated. I think I did it over 8 rows, so 2 of each. And then we dropped into this bobble section. I've done bobbles before. I can do a bobble. Tedious, not a fan. One of my friends, Charlotte, loves doing a bobble, and my other friend, Amanda, loves doing a bobble. Not so much. But I did all the bobbles. And then we've gone into this really pretty, almost plant-like lace section. And then we go into this eyelet section, which again, then I've faded the colours. So I've started to bring in the purple, and I've just done the first row of the neck section. So the neck section is a cable section. And I almost don't want to stop. I did stop because I wanted to cast on another project for my final cast on for the year. But man alive, I've been obsessed by this project. I've not done a huge amount of knitting, as in I knit Christmas morning and I started it, and then I think I got to about here, Christmas morning. Then I started the rib stitch on Boxing morning. So I've really only been doing 2 or 3 hours in the morning and then maybe an hour or 2 in the evening. I didn't do anything Christmas night or Boxing night. The less said about the cocktails that were consumed on both of those nights, the better. But I've done a lot of knitting and I love it. I can't wait to pick this back up. And I was almost sad to stop it. So the next section then is the cable section, which I will do in the purple in the third colour. Then there's another almost transition section when I'll introduce the fourth colour, and then the same with the fifth. And then what I'm going to try and do is in the border, try and incorporate all 5 colours as a little nod back. I think that's what I'm going to do. But yes, this is the Hyber Knit Along. This is the Glow Frost Shawl. I think that's what it's called, by Stephen West. My first Hyber Knit Along, and I've loved it. Loved. So if you've been on the fence about joining in, absolutely jump in and do it. The only tip I will give you, because I made a mistake and I had to rip a little bit back, when you do the bobbles, I think it doesn't matter. You can do the bobbles when you do the bobbles. I ended up being 1 stitch out. And Stephen always says, like, don't worry, if you're a stitch under or over, stick an extra increase in or an extra decrease in, which is what I did. But what I hadn't made the connection in my head is where we're doing these twisted columns that give you almost the straight line here. Where we were doing these, I was 1 stitch out, and my column to start with didn't come out of the bobble. So if you are out on your stitch count and you are coming up to this, I think it's okay that you can just shove an extra increase in somewhere, but just make sure when you're doing your first bit of the twisted stitch that you're in the middle of the bobble. Or you're actually, once you've taken the bobble off, you're into the bobble stitch. Because I had to undo a row, I had to undo 2 rows because I got there and back. And then when I looked at it, it was slightly off, which was fine because I was happy to undo it, but save yourself that problem. If your stitch counts out, it's fine. Just make sure you pick up in the bobble. Right, enough about that project. That's coming into my January project list. More on that in a future video. I'm going to go back to the Gideon method of picking 5 projects and working on 5 projects a few hours at a time, but that is definitely coming back quickly in January because I love it. I loves it, I does. The other cast on then I did was the Weekly Advent by Anton of the Raw Wool Company. And these are the raw wool colours. So let me put them in A, B, C, and D. So some really, really lovely natural colours. And as Anton says, wool as the sheep intended. So natural colours. And what I planned to do with these, I'm also quite obsessed with this project. And I only cast this on last night. I cast on about 4:30. And I'm making an exploration station. So this is going to be another Stephen West design. But with this, it's going to be one of the previous MCALs. And I would love to go back and at some point have all of the Mystery Knit Along shawls, all of the back catalogue. But we start with this one and then we'll see where we get to. So it goes up this way. There are ends on this, and I need to sew the ends in. Sorry, the needle keeps banging. I put it on a long needle so I could show you. I don't know what's the matter with me at the minute. I seem to be turning into a speed knitter, and that's not me at all, right? So I did this mostly last night. I got up early this morning and I started this section. So I was knitting about 6:15 this morning on this section, but I did all of these last night. We're rewatching Gangs of London, so that helped. I had about we went to bed at midnight. 8 hours? Yeah. 8 hours in total. We had food, we stopped, I played on Instagram. You know the drill. So I didn't knit solidly for 8 hours, but look. So let me stop flying it around so that you can see. So this is the first section of Exploration Station with these wedges and these lovely eyelet rows. So I did a gauge swatch. I know. I say I did a gauge swatch. I cast on 20, I think it's 20 stitches in 4 inches is the gauge. So I cast on 20 stitches and I knit like 3 rows just to see where it was. And I was on 19 stitches instead of 20. So I'm like 1 stitch out. The only reason I checked the gauge is the pattern actually calls for a 4mm needle. And I usually do all of my Stephen West shawls on a 3.5. I never swatch. I just always do them on a 3.5. So I was a bit, why a 4? Because I think the yarn that Stephen used is just normal 4-ply fingering yarn. So I was intrigued as to why a 4. But also because this yarn feels, I don't know if you can see this. This yarn feels like a thicker 4-ply. It's probably going to be a bad example now, but if I try and put the two together, can you see the sheepy wool is ever so slightly thicker than this wool from Gemma, for example. So I also swatched just because it does feel a little bit thicker. So I wanted to swatch just to see what it was going to be like. 1 stitch out, so it's fine. I'll have plenty of yarn left. I've got more than enough for the 4 colours. But also now, this is going to be a big shawl because, like, look how big it is already. So I've got to finish this section, this wedge. Then I've got another wedge to come. And then that's section 1 done. Then we're into the brioche. And I did have this thought. I've willingly chosen a brioche shawl. I did put this in my wrap-up on my written blog. Details below if you're not yet subscribed. About, have I mastered brioche? I wouldn't say I'd mastered it, but I definitely feel more comfortable with brioche this year. So excited to get my brioche on. So yeah, this is Exploration Station. It's really simple mindless garter stitch, short row shaping, these cute little eyelets, double yarn overs. They're really cool. I think this is going to be a bit of a blanket shawl, because it's knit on a 4mm needle, so it's really big needles. It's growing quite quickly, but I think it's going to grow big. When I get to the brioche section is, I think, colours B and C. So they're going to be, I think that's going to be the foreground and that's the background. So I'm very excited, very, very, very. I don't want to stop that one either. So they're my final 2 cast-ons of the year. There will be a video, next week's video. I can't get to all of my projects. The Christmas tree is in the corner where all my knitting things are, and all the bags are in cubby holes. And I realised in my book, I've stopped keeping it up to date. So we'll do a bit of a stock check in January. I want to say I'm on like 15 or 16 projects. I don't know, but I can't get to the cupboard to find out. So we're going to take the Christmas tree down. We're going to start taking all the decorations down now this week. We're going out this evening. 2 of our good friends are coming up to go out onto Cardiff Bay. So we're going to go out for some drinks later on, which will be great and probably quite boozy. But then once New Year's Day is tomorrow, all the decorations can start to come down. Like my sister-in-law's taken hers down today. Christmas is done. One year I took them down the day after Boxing Day. It's like, I'm done now. Christmas is over. We've done all the Christmassy things, so I figured that I may just take them down. But when I can take them down, I can then get in the corner. And so one of the January videos, we will have a stock check and we'll work through what whips we've got I don't think there's anything on the frog list, but I've got a lot of things that are near close to finishing, like this much on a sock and buttons on, I still haven't sewed buttons on Noah's jumper. So there's lots of things that I need to finish. So my plan for January, I'm not going to cast on anything new, he says. I don't think I'm going to cast anything, I'm definitely not casting anything on in January and probably February. My only hesitation with March is it's the Toft International Women's Day event, or the International Women's Day event is on, and then Toft will release another doll to go with that. And we usually do the annual doll along, where I make that doll that quarter and everyone can join in and make the dolls, and we do them along as like a little community thing. So I can't say I'm not going to cast anything on for 3 months. And also, you know, I get like itchy fingers and I need to start some things. But I'm not going to cast anything on new for a while now, which is why I wanted to spend some time getting these 2 final things on the needles. And then I'm going to go back into rotation of projects, including Mark's jumper, so that I can try and get some things finished off. I'll have a few things that have got a long way to go, like these 2 shawls. Some things that are nearly there, like some of the socks, and then some bigger projects, like Mark's jumper. So I think that's my plan for January at least. We're having a really quiet month. We've not got any plans yet. So we will see. But the one thing that I will be doing in January is opening my Christmas present. Sorry. So I was very spoiled. But this was kind of 2 Christmas presents, because I did still have money left over from last Christmas that I gave to Mark to put towards this present. And what do Ashford make? Oh, this could be the thumbnail. Ashford makes spinning wheels. So yes, Santa very kindly gifted me an e-spinner. So, Spinuary's back. I didn't invent Spinuary, someone else mentioned it. I've seen it somewhere else. I tried last year to find the origin of Spinuary and I couldn't. So if you do know the origin, please drop it in the description box below so we can give credit to whoever came up with Spinuary. But I will be trying to spin again in January. Now, last January, this also featured in my highlights, I drop spindled some merino and I made my own yarn. I've not done anything with it yet. It is in my stash. But I enjoy drop spindling. It's a bit fiddly. I'm a bit of a fidgeter. It's a slow process. I enjoyed learning to spin. So one of my things on my things I enjoyed this year was learning to drop spindle. I made some yarn back at the beginning of the year. I have more fibre now that I've been buying, and I've got, on the drop spindle, it's really slow. And I think I need that kind of instant gratification. It's like, these shawl projects are great, but they're not finished in like a day. Whereas the kids' hats, which I'll come on to in a moment, the kids' hats were done in like 2 hours at a time. So if you need that dopamine fix, a drop spindle is not going to give that to you. And I'm sure an e-spinner is going to be equally as frustrating, especially in the beginning, but it will be quicker. This is, people are like, what's an e-spinner? Like all my family on Christmas Day, I was opening it and they were like, what have you got now? Another hobby? I was like, yeah. But like, this is me, like speed, push the button, gone. I can sit on the floor, I can do it. So I'm really excited to get my e-spin on. And what I also bought, and I did tease this at the beginning of Vlogmas, I picked up a festive box by Charmaine of Tings. Lots of you may know Charmaine. She's featured in a number of videos before, and I've got some of Charmaine's yarn that I'm spinning on my drop spindle. But what I've got with Charmaine's Tings fibre box, it's a 12 days of icons, 12 bumps of fibre. So I'm very excited. Shall we open one? I haven't opened any of these yet. I deliberately waited until I can film it. Okay, so there's number one. So let me open number one. This might be a separate blog series as well for Spinuary. So number one, we have, Amy Winehouse. So there's a little bit of information from Charmaine, and then the fibre, I'm guessing, is going to be inspired by that colourway. So let's open. They're all beautifully hand wrapped. Should we unwrap it together? Oh, look at that red. This is gonna be fun. So I will obviously break it off and run it through my spinner. And if I bought this and I was drop spindling, I would still be here 3 Christmas times. I'm never going to get it done quickly. But I'm hoping with an e-spinner, it means I've got another hobby in spinning. So I'm then knitting, crochet and spinning. I did see someone bought a loom. I said to Mark, like, should we get a loom? He's like, no, why, where? So no, we're not getting a loom. Although I do realise that, like, when we then start spinning, we'll then have lots of yarn and maybe we could spin and we can spin for a weave. We're not going to do that. I'm joking now. But I do love the idea of spinning up these little bats, and that's going to be my January project. So I've got some fibre in my stash. Like, this is really lovely fibre. All the fibre I've got is lovely, caveat. But like this with the extra like sari silk and the extra colours in. I've got some just plain fibre that's just like one colour. So it doesn't really matter how I spin it up. So I've got some kind of entry level spinning. See, again, in my head, this is going to be really easy because I now know how to draft, basically, on a drop spindle. So I'm just drafting and the machine, like, I can do that in like 10 minutes. It's not going to be 10 minutes. Stay tuned for the video that comes in January as to how long it takes me to spin one of these. Then we've got all the ply-in drama. Like, there's going to be a whole mini series now, I think, about spinning. So yeah, I'm very excited to have a go and kind of get spinning on an e-spinner. And then open up all of the Charmaine. So there'll be a separate video for sure, just about the Charmaine spin and how I get on with that, the yarns that we make, how much yarn I make, plying it. So I'm going to do a whole separate set of, that won't just be one video because that'll be a really, really, really long video. I'll probably do like setting up the machine, getting going. I'll blog a little bit about my progress and how I find it, and is it easy, is it hard, and all the rest of it. And I'll do a little project video, I think, to go with the actual fibre, from the bumps to the finished yarn that we make. But I'm excited. So again, I'm not starting anything new apart from I'm going to be doing some spinning. So at least now I've got all my projects that I want on my needles. I've got some bigger shawls lined up. So I've kind of set myself up for a couple of months at least of knitting and crocheting and now spinning. I do appreciate how much of a lucky boy I am. And Mark is very, very lovely. I have told him. So yeah, I think that is everything. I just wanted to pop on, as I said, wish you all a very happy new year. Hope you had a really lovely week. It's only just been a week since I filmed my last video. It feels like a fortnight or 3 weeks since I last recorded anything. But it's been incredibly busy here. And thank you so much to everyone for your ongoing support and for liking, subscribing, commenting on videos, tagging me in pictures and posts on Instagram and here on YouTube. I really do appreciate it. It's a wonderful, wonderful community vibe. And as I say many, many times, as long as you folks keep watching, I will keep making the content. The final bit I just wanted to cover then were the hats for the kids. I'm not sure now I say this, and I can't check because I'm recording on my phone. I'm not sure I recorded or took a picture of the hats. There is, and I'm going to pop it in the description box below, there's a short here on YouTube that I posted with the hats. So you folks may have seen that already, but if you want to see the hats glowing under the black light, the link is below this video. So go and check out the hats. It's also on my Instagram. They loved them, and it had the desired effect when you turn all the lights off and shine the black light. They thought that was brilliant. Nephew one was equally playing a part, but yeah, wasn't going to be in the video at all. So my brother stepped in. I stand by. If you wonder why nephew one is a giant, it's because that's my middle brother, Noah's dad. So thank you to him, Matthew, for being Noah's understudy. But 3-year-olds, the little 3-year-old Thea was happy. Niece 3, she played along, she loved it, being with the big girls. Noah's like, no, I'm not performing for you, which is great. And I love all their little personalities and seeing those come out. But the hats were amazing. So the wool is from Knotted by Nish, and the pattern is by The Grateful Sheep. So I'll pop the details below for the yarn and the pattern if you wanted to make them. 10mm needles, they grow really quickly. And yeah, the black light, the way the light, the dye glows in the light was just, it was as I imagined it would be. When I saw the yarn at the Yarn show in the summer, it's like, oh, they would make great hats for the kids. And they did, and I really loved it. So yeah, right. I think that is everything. Thank you so much for being here. I'll be back. So it's currently, within that also, what day is it? I think it's Tuesday. So I'll be back next Monday with my first video. Monday the 6th anyway, I'll be back with my first video. This weekend, I'm going to get my spinner out, get it set up. We've got a clear weekend, so I'm going to have a little go at spinning. I'll maybe show you off a little bit of how I've got on. Maybe it'll just be a spinning video. I'm not sure yet what will be coming on Monday, but there will be a video. That's all I can tell you. Lots of fun things planned for next year. A really exciting project that I'm working on, but nervous to share. But I'm excited, and I hope that you folks will love it. So more on that, probably end of January into February. Lots of fun events and other things coming up. I'll be at the Unravel show in February. If anyone is going to be there, come and say hi. And yeah, hope you have a wonderful New Year. If you watch this before the New Year celebrations, stay safe, have fun, drink some water. That's what we'll be doing. If you're watching this and it's now January, Happy New Year. Hope you had a lovely night. Get some crafting done, sit down, find some moments of peace for you, and start a new project. Just start all the things. There's basically not going to be my mantra for Q1. I'm not starting anything. Please hold me to account. If in a weekly video I'm like, oh, look at this yarn I bought. Wouldn't this make a lovely... You go, no. You need to finish some projects first. Maybe January, maybe Monday's video will be a whip thing. Maybe I'll see if I can try and get the tree down by January. Get the tree down by Monday, then I can do the list. We'll see, maybe. I'm babbling. Right, thank you very much. I'm going to go and edit this video. Try and get it up to the YouTube in a timely fashion today on New Year's Eve. So thank you very much for being here. I will be back next week with more crafting related content. So until we speak again, happy crafting.